A suicide ending to a useful unmanned spacecraft. Diving into a cloud was the last mission Galileo attempted, but that was 12 years ago.
October 18, 1989, Galileo's first mission. It was sent into space and traveled 588 million kilometers to study the planet Jupiter and its moons. It was carried by the space shuttle Atlantis on the STS-34 mission.
In 1994, it observed Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9's collision with Jupiter, which caused major destructions but also opened the door for many new discoveries.
It arrived on Jupiter December 7, 1995, already with much knowledge of its flybys of Venus and Earth. It became the first spacecraft to successfully orbit Jupiter.
Galileo, if you didn't know, wasn't always called Galileo. It was originally called Jupiter Orbiter Probe. Scheduled to take off in 1984, later postponed to 1985, was continually pushed back until it finally took off in 1989.
The Galileo spacecraft was originally sent for a 2-year study of the Jovian system. Each orbit took 2 months, but a very helpful 2 months. The spacecraft flew by many objects, including planets, asteroids, and Jupiter's 4 largest moons. The Galileo spacecraft was originally sent for a 2-year study of the Jovian system. Each orbit of Jupiter took 2 months, but a very helpful 2 months. The spacecraft flew by many objects, including planets, asteroids, and Jupiter's 4 largest moons.
On January 17, 2002, NASA deactivated the cameras on Galileo. It had suffered radiation damage that could not be fixed. Fortunately, the camera footage, though damaged, was retrieved. Galileo then continued to collect data about Jupiter and its moons until September 21, 2003. This was Galileo's death day.
The spacecraft didn't die for no reason. It died to save Europa, one of Jupiter's 4 largest moons. Jupiter has actually 63 known moons, but the 4 largest include Europa, Io, Ganymede, and Castillo. Galileo's orbit path was heading directly for Europa, and NASA scientists didn't want to risk collision. Europa is believed to have subsurface waters as well as some other moons.
Besides the fact that Galileo would hit Europa, its mission had already been completed. It had 38 flybys of planets, asteroids, the Jovian system, and Jupiter's moons, and most importantly, the actual planet of Jupiter.
Other than the Galileo spacecraft, Jupiter has many other interesting things about it. For example, it has a total of 63 known moons, with more being discovered.
Jupiter is also the 5th closest planet to the Sun and lies between Mars and Saturn's orbits. It's about 778,330,000 miles from the Sun and has a temperature of 145 degrees Celsius throughout the entire 143,000 kilometer diameter of the planet. In Earth days, Jupiter has a rotation period of 0.3135 days.
Jupiter is slightly oval. It is red, orange, brown, and white. It is believed to be a god in the sky that was watching over us, so they named it after one of the most important gods. They also believed that because it was a god, it drew away evil spirits.
Nobody is sure when or by whom Jupiter was discovered, but it was believed to be in the prehistoric times. But it was studied in the early 1600s. It takes roughly 9 hours and 56 minutes to rotate fully.
Let's hear it. Jupiter has no surface, but the first layer inside of Jupiter's core is liquid hydrogen and helium. The next layer is metallic hydrogen and helium. Even though this is only 2 components, there is much more, just not in a large quantity as those.
One thing that we found interesting was that all the other planets could fit inside of Jupiter with room to spare. Also, Jupiter spins the fastest out of all the planets with a rotation of 9 hours and 33 minutes. It has a revolution period of about 11.86 Earth days, and its orbital velocity is approximately 47,002 kilometers.
Jupiter has 6 gases in its atmosphere, including hydrogen, helium, ammonia, sulfur, methane, and water vapor. Hydrogen takes up the most space in the atmosphere, 90% of it to be exact, while the rest take up 10%.
As you already know, Jupiter has 63 known moons, but has 4 main ones. These include Ganymede, Io, Callisto, and Europa. Each is unique. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system. Io has lots of volcanoes and is covered in sulfur, and Callisto and Europa both may have oceans beneath their cold, rocky, cracked, icy surfaces.
Because of the amazing probe Galileo, we know about the amazing planet Jupiter. Though many forget about Galileo's spacecraft, it will always hold a special place in history as the first spacecraft sent to study the god planet Jupiter.
And now we have a short, cheesy representation of Galileo's suicide.